The opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and are not those of WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. The phone lines are open. Call in with your questions and comments at 220-9788. That's 220-WSTU. It's time for Stuart Laser Talk with your host, Dr. Tred J. Razacker.
I'm 5'10" and 242 pounds.
I always say this is the biggest I'm ever going to be, and I said that like 20 pounds ago.
A third of Americans are obese, another third is overweight.
Obesity is the biggest threat to the health, welfare, and future of this country.
I've always been overweight.
I've got diabetes,
Sleep apnea,
Heart disease.
everything's hurting now.
It's a lot easier to lose weight than it is to keep weight off.
This is probably going to be the first generation of children who are going to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents.
18% of our children right now are obese.
It's not only health, it's about survival and well-being of the United States as a nation.
You don't crave broccoli, and our generation has grown up craving a Big Mac.
I want to think that there's something better for me.
Unless we're able to control this epidemic, we're going to have an abundance of chronic disease.
All of us have to be part of the solution to reduce obesity.
The weight of the nation is out of control, but we can fix that.
If we don't now take this as a really urgent national priority, we are all going to pay a really serious price. Obesity will crush the United States in oblivion.
Yeah, it's Dr. Tred, your happy, excitable chiropractor, as I like to say. It doesn't take much to get me up in the morning. Just the thought of having another day in this glorious world and country that we live in. We're dealing with incredible situations, watching it unfold between our eyes. You know, if you're alive and it's 2021 and you have any eyes to see or ears to hear, you can tell that there's a big change happening. There's a huge shift within the world, the global economy and the global healthcare, and when you can travel and where you can go, and who you consider your friends are. And, you know, are you black or white? Are you Spanish or Latino? You know, it just, there's so much change happening that it's downright scary. And at the same time, it could be very, very beneficial for those who embrace and challenge it. And you don't fight back. You adapt and you use your intelligence, your God-given ability to reason, to see things based on your own values of good and bad and right and wrong. You know, I mean, don't rely on someone else's values when you're making these decisions. You know what's right and wrong. Most of you do. If you're a normal human being that's well balanced and, you know, hasn't been hurt somehow or damaged. And as a result of that, you know, you can make really good choices. And that's my goal here today on the show, is I want to explain to you that you have choices that can be made today, which will improve your overall health, your body's ability to resist pathogens, to be resistant to disease and pathogens. And also there's things you can do that will ensure that you can move and bend and take care of your health, also to take care of your family. If you're sick, you can't do any of that. And you're dependent on somebody or something for your life. That's what sickness does to people. It makes us dependent on caretakers, on medicine, on health insurance, on where we live, because we're sick and our body isn't functioning. Something has happened. And that, my friend, is my realm, what I can help. You know, this is something that, you know, this whole, what's happened, I'm not even going to call it a pandemic, because it never fit the actual definition of a pandemic. If you look at what a true pandemic is, they changed the definition of it, because why is somebody great? So I see, yeah, just because I'm going Facebook Live doesn't mean my phone doesn't ring. I hear something buzzing in the distance. So, I really believe in your ability, your body's ability to repair itself, to replace dead tissue. And because that's what I've done my whole life. I'm a chiropractor. I've watched people heal from all sorts of different illnesses and diseases and injuries. I was at a counselor. I went for some counseling back in my 30s over a very painful relationship I was in, and I was getting out of it. And it seemed to me that my problems were there was nothing I could do to really overcome them. I was overwhelmed by it. It seemed like it was going to rule my life for the rest of my life. These problems I was having back in the 30s there. And I sat down with my counselor, this guy, Gary, who was very calm and very smart. He'd been a counselor for like 30 years. And I looked at him and I said, Gary, could you give me some advice here of you're sitting here listening to these problems. How many people come in with the same type of problems? And what has been your experience as far as their outcome? And he told me that what I was going through and what I thought was the worst problem in the world was a very common problem that many, many, many of his clients have been through many times. He says most of them, 99%, he said, will overcome these problems. It just takes time. Some take longer than others. And however, if he had told me that the first day I walked in, I would have said it's impossible. Nobody knows what I'm going through, how bad it is. But his experience at sitting down with thousands of people, sitting there, giving their explanations, and then his therapies and what he's done to help them, you can overcome these things. So in his mind, as a counselor, most emotional problems that people come in with go away over time, and they have, because that's his experience. Of chiropractic for 33 years. Now, I've taken care of over 15,000 people. If you look at the 33 years, 300 new patients a year, 300 to 400 visits a week, times the 27 years I was actively practicing. Now I'm doing weight loss for the last 5 or 6 years. It's an average of about 250 to 300,000 times somebody sat in a chair and I made an adjustment. Over 15,000 people that I've done x-rays and gone over their conditions, and they've received treatment with me. Of those group of people, 95% found help, relief, resolution of their problem. They found it manageable. They made it part of their life, and they weren't given drugs. They weren't given injections. They were never given any kind of a supportive measure of pills, anti-inflammatory, none of that in 27 years, because it's not within my license to do that. I can't offer that. So I have to find a solution that's more natural and holistic. And because my income in my life depends on it, my family, their ability to eat depends on me getting results, I search really hard for that answer. And so if you come to me and ask me, about this health problem, and it's all encompassing, and I'm going to lose everything, and I'd be like, you need some help, but you can overcome this. Well, how do you know that? Well, I've helped thousands of people overcome these problems. So I look at what's happening in our country right now, in our world, and if you don't think that we're under attack, that humanity is under attack in some way, you're not paying attention. You're not listening. You're and there's nothing wrong with that. Ignorance is bliss until it comes to your door. And but we're under attack, and who's attacking us? I don't really know exactly. I can't put my finger on it. It seems to be authority is attacking us, right? Anybody that seems to have a job or a badge or or a label, or somebody appointed them a director of something, these people all of a sudden become like Gestapo. They think they know what everybody needs and wants, and they say they have the right to do that. And I tell you, I look at them and say, you got no authority. Even the government doesn't have the authority. My authority is given to me by my maker, by God. So what I know is right and wrong, and I don't harm people. I know you can't do that. You can't go around and hurt people. That's against the law. But to walk down the street, to go to a store, to meet with my friends without any nefarious reasons, to just share life and love and fun, you can tell me that that's wrong? Huge overreach. And I think everybody is feeling that right now. I don't think it's unusual. We're coming into Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving because I love my family. And it gets me choked up because I see them destroying our families. They're separating us. They're separating us with a fake mask. I just came up to work here at the radio station, and there was a guy standing right behind the car lot, and he was there all by himself, and he had an N95 mask on. His whole face was masked. And I thought to myself, there's nobody around him. He's a beautiful day. How is he helping himself by covering his breathing hole? When the porpoise, you're out fishing and the porpoise come up and they come out of the water and they take that big breath of air, they blow it out. You hear them. Go over to them and try to put a mask over that breathing hole and watch what happens. Try to a tiger. Cover a tiger's mouth and watch what happens. Yet a human who has more ability to kill than a tiger, trust me, they're okay with it. Well, not for long. That's what's happening here. You're going to get a point where the insanity is just too obvious. And I think it's something that we have to look at your own, what's right and wrong for you. And of course the world. If you're sick, stay home. Don't come out and sneeze and cough. But that has never changed. That has always been that way since I was a kid, since I grew up in Long Island, New York, and we had colds and flus, and I'm a chiropractor. So I've dealt with a lot of people with upper respiratory conditions, and it's pretty simple. Cover your mouth when you cough, don't get in front of everybody and pick your nose and blow snot all over the place. Go into the bathroom if you've got something gross to do. If you are sick, stay home. Don't come out. Do lots of fluids, get adjusted, see your chiropractor. That's would work for me. Make sure you got your supplementation and you're healthy. You're working on that, and allow it to pass. That's what we were taught to do, and that's what we still do. To think that, that we as healthy people have to be quarantined somehow or removed from society because we refuse to take a jab of a protein therapy. It's not a vaccination, and let's be really honest. I did a study on the CDC's website last week. Now I know this information because I've been doing it my whole life. And I went on and I put down the number of vaccinations that the CDC recommends for a male child in America till they're 17 years old. I put from birth to 17, how many vaccinations and the schedule that the CDC recommends. And you can do this yourself. When that schedule came up, it took 15 pages to print it. 15. It had 72 different vaccinations that they recommend before you're 17 years old if you're born in USA. 72. Now, the actual injection, because some of them have 5 or 6 drugs within them, you're not going to get 72 individual jabs. It might be all put into 15 or 16. And, we're talking at birth, they give you a shot. At 3 months, 2 months, there's a whole series of shots. There's another one at like 4 months. There's one shot you have to take because the one for hepatitis didn't last. I mean, it just goes on and on. And let's be realistic. Let's be real. Most people do it in America. In other words, there's very little vaccine hesitancy in America. That's obvious because look at how many kids get immunized. Look at how they haven't had to mandate immunizations for any children because people do it on their own volition. They are concerned about their health. They see that these diseases could possibly still be prevalent. They know the vaccine has a history and a track record of being fairly safe. And they do it because it's for the right reason. And then they come along with this COVID-19 therapy shot, mRNA, gene editing technology. That's not a vaccine. And everybody knows it. You can tell. It doesn't give you any immunity towards the disease. It doesn't prevent you from infecting other people. And it doesn't allow you not to get it. It simply lessens the symptoms if you get the COVID. It supposedly will lessen the severity of your infection. That's what it's safe and effective at doing. Nothing more than that. It's in the literature. I'm not making this up. So, and you wonder why. So now now they're calling you an anti-vaxxer. Wait a second. I had all my kids vaccinated. My whole family went and did all your shots as per they're supposed to. And now you come up with this, what smells like a rat to me, a dead rat. I've explained that before. And you're calling me an anti-vaxxer? Are you kidding me? No, I'm just not stupid. And many of you are ignorant, and I don't blame you if you're ignorant. But if you know the deal, and you think that that's okay, it's something that we got to discuss. We have to discuss this. We can't. You go on Twitter, you go on Facebook, you're done. I mean, they pull you right off. I actually have been practicing. This is kind of my rebel side is coming out a little bit here. And I remember that most Twitter responses to politicians, to business leaders, to people that are, influencers are mobbed by a Twitter trollers, these troll farms that change anybody that comes through in America or has an opinion about something, a leader, and it's against the narrative of the CCP and the globalist narrative, which is, one world government, one world currency, one world, you got it right. And you go against that narrative and they assign hundreds of people to Twitter against you to say negative things again and again and again and again and again until you think it's coming from the public. The USA is doing it. And they exposed these Twitter farms in China and also, of course, in Russia that were, in China, it's the CCP, it's the public's army, it's the People's Republic Army. They have thousands and thousands of people that are just doing nothing but answering these Twitters and going against the narrative on social media. So I went ahead and the Chinese government's very concerned about the Tiananmen Square massacre that they're trying to bury that ever happened. And so I know that it was a coup, that when Tiananmen Square happened, it wasn't because of a bunch of students were sleeping in the we're in this big courtyard, this Tiananmen Square in front of the Forbidden City. This was where one of the revolts happened. But there were several provinces, all that had the same revolt. So they almost lost their government position as a result of that, what they called the student uprising. It's really was really a coup. So I went on my Twitter this morning and I put in Tiananmen Square. Do you know that Twitter did not have a spell check on how to spell Tiananmen? Now, every other word, when you put it in, Twitter shows you the wrong spelling. There was no wrong spelling. There was nothing that corrected you when you typed in Tiananmen Square. So I had to go to Google because I don't know how to spell Tiananmen Square. So I went to Google, I put it in the search, and I put in Tiananmen, and I was able to spell it properly. And when I put it in the search, it wouldn't allow me to keep it in there. It popped it out. So I had to separate the two and just put it in there. Now, why is that? How is it that, the Twitter group that owns it and controls the spell check, why is it that Tiananmen doesn't go through spell check unless they don't want you to put it in there? So I managed to get it in there, and I put the post in, and I'm really wanting to see what kind of attack the Twitter mob does, where they're at. And you'll see you can tell if they're from China because they have like 4,000 followers, but they're only following, they follow like 4,000 people, but nobody follows them. That's really how you know they're a Twitter mob. So on a more positive note, and everybody sees what's happening. Everybody knows that something is amiss. Everybody's looking at what's happening in our governments and this misinformation, this sleepy president we have. And, it's amazing. So I really believe that you have to take your power back, that you need to take your health back, that America has become sickened and fat and lazy for the most part, and allowing this global order, new order, this global governance to just run ramshot over your life. Tell you where you go, what you can do, where you should sit, who you should be friends with, when you should mask, when you should go in, what type of food you can eat, when, it just goes on and on. Stay out of my life. Stop molesting me. I don't want to be molested. Right? Molestation, injuring, sticking something in somebody, putting something on somebody, molesting them against their will. Wow. Hello. So, real easy stuff to do to be healthy. And, it really, I look back at the world over many, many years, and I remember as a child growing up in New York, in Limerick, New York, Massapequa, and, sitting down for Saturday cartoons because we like the cartoons, and then they had the ads for the Frankenberry and the Captain Crunch cereal. And, they have enormous, the Pop-Tarts, which is after my time, but I was raised with freaking sugar cereals. I mean, with marshmallows that were floating in milk that were pure candy. But it was fortified with vitamins and minerals, they said, when you bought it. And there's fiber in it, my mom thought. Well, we wanted it because it was advertised. And, it was either Captain Crunch, Frankenberry, Lucky Charms, or Frosted Mini Wheats. And they're still out there. Nothing is worse for your health and your child's health than allowing them to eat that sugar garbage. And over time, it's going to forge the weapon which will kill you over time. Doesn't happen that day or even before you're 20. It's when you reach 30 and 40 that your diabetes kicks in and your arteries are plaqued and you can't make good choices when it comes to food because you were raised on sugar cereals and Pop-Tarts and bags of Doritos. I'm not saying that these devitalized foods, that it's a plan. to make you sick or it's a plan of depopulation. I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you that it's advertising and you bought into it. And now what government does is it helps businesses keep in business. That's one of the reasons why we have government and oligarchs and politicians is they're here to keep our business lines open, to make sure that people that buy things and sell things and have markets to protect their market share. And as a result of protecting that market share, they will increase, they help people that sell bad food, alcohol, drugs, cars that could hurt you, gasoline products that could soak into your skin. They do all that stuff because they're really protecting commerce. It's your decision as a human to not choose those products just because they're available. You have to say no. And if you don't, today, it's like, it's not the locomotive that kills you. It's the caboose that kills you. It's not the train that hits you because you picked up that sugary half a cake and powered it down. It's the end of the train that gets you when you end up with pancreatitis because your body is so sickened by it. And then you can't eat anything. So that's what we do with the Slim Body. We used to do these workshops all the time, and it's been harder to get people to come out for workshops because of the COVID disease, narrative. Yet I was going through some of my stuff, and we have a testimonial from a couple, a husband and a wife by the name of Bonnie and Tom, and they attended my workshop in Port St. Lucie. And as a result of them attending the workshop, they came here into the radio station probably about 5 years ago, and they shared their story with one of my guest hosts, whose name is Mr. Bill. And I want to thank Mr. Bill because he was one of the ones that got me to do this radio program almost 11 years ago. So this is kind of a memory from the past, and I think you really enjoy what Bonnie and Tom have to say here. So I'm going to let my friend Evan play that for you. Okay. And it should be coming on shortly.
Well, we have some
there we go.
Very special guests today. This is Bonnie and Tom, and they volunteered to come in because they listen to the radio show regularly, and back in December, they were treated at the Slim Body Laser Spa after attending one of our workshops. What a tremendous success story. And they decided to come in and talk about it. They're from Jensen Beach. So let me welcome Bonnie and Tom. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And also, I'd like to say good morning to Dr. Tread. Dr. Tread, how you doing?
Good morning, Mr. Bill. Good morning, Bonnie and Tom. I'm so glad you're here. And just so glad that everybody's tuning in and listening to us and our message of hope and healing through the use of the low-level laser to help get rid of unwanted body fat.
Right. So, Bonnie, tell me, how did you hear about us? On the radio?
Well, since we've moved to Jensen Beach area, we're always used to listening to morning talk show radio from home.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we moved here, we always turned on the radio, and somehow our radio was always tuned to 1450. And
that happens with the radios. They just go to 1450.
Ours do anyway.
The locals.
Yeah, ours
Right.
do anyway. And we listen every morning, and the morning goes on, and we listen to the advertisement for the laser program. And we really became interested in the program when Dr. Tread offered the
workshop.
workshop.
Mm-hmm.
It was so funny because I listen at home, and sometimes Tom listens in the car on the way to work and stuff. And he came home and he wanted to go to that workshop, and cleared our calendar, and we showed up.
in Port St. Lucie, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
And we were really surprised. And I volunteered at that time or they asked me, and I volunteered to try it out. And I was really impressed with the information that was given to us. Number two, the staff, the way they presented it on the monitor, and all the questions we asked and we actually absolutely felt no pressure. It was Tom and I that decided that we wanted to try it out for ourselves, and I'm glad we did.
Yeah, just a great informative workshop, question and answers, and see for yourself and a demonstration. Tom, did you find it interesting?
Oh, very much so. Lately I've been struggling with weight, and got a doctor that when I went for my physical, he's a pretty good guy, and he says, if you don't lose some weight, he says, don't cancel your next appointment.
Wow.
Well, he scared me so much that I gained 10 pounds, and then I was trying to tie my shoe one morning and out of breath, and when I was listening to radio and heard on the laser, and I came home, told Bonnie, I says, let's go to the workshop. I says, we have nothing to lose. And we went to the workshop, and like Bonnie said, the staff was very knowledgeable and answered the questions, and it made a lot of sense the way they presented it. And so we figured we're going to give it a try, and we did, and we're very glad we did.
Did you sign up at the workshop?
Yes, we did.
And then you came in for a free consultation?
Signed up the workshop, and then we came in for to start the treatment.
So everything that you wanted to know about the Slim Body Laser Spa was answered at the workshop.
Yes.
That's great. That's great. We're going to be telling our listeners about the next workshop, February 13th at the Stewart Marriott. So those of you who want to come to the next workshop, get your pen and paper out and clear your calendar, as Bonnie said, and get ready for the next workshop. So tell us, Bonnie, what was it like when you came in the spa?
Oh, I'm big into feng shui, and the spa is really, really nice. The outside is very inviting. I always say I want to bring a book and sit on the porch and read when I leave. But the staff, as soon as you walk in, they were very friendly, and everything was done for us. The appointments made in plenty of time, and to our convenience, and any questions we had, they were able to answer. And we just went in, and the girls did their job and
right,
put the lasers on, and we were ready to go.
So let's talk about the tape. How successful was the treatment at the Slim Body Laser Spa?
I lost more than 9 inches.
Wow.
Yeah, I am wearing a pair of pants that I could wear a couple of months ago. I couldn't couldn't wear them comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're loose on me.
Wow.
So.
How about you, Tom?
Yes. Well, I found staff to be excellent.
Mm-hmm.
They were very, very good, and the cleanliness of the place. And you walk in, you're not rushed, but they're right there to start the treatment, and there's no waiting. You get in there, and they seem like they can't do enough for you. You can.
So when you're scheduled, you go.
Yes, and
great.
And with conflicting schedules, 1 or 2 times I had to change the appointment. There was no problem in doing that. They were very accommodating, and you just you really feel good, and the treatment, you lay there, and I take a nap during the treatment. And I don't usually nap, and
that's so peaceful.
Yeah.
And how'd you do on the tape measure?
Bonnie did a little better than me. I was just under 9 inches. But what was great is that I gained a whole bunch of notches on my belt.
Yeah.
I had some belts that were down to the last notch, and now I'm getting closer to the tightest notch.
Wow.
And what's really good is when people see me and they ask me, are you dieting? And I says, I'm working out and, watching what I eat.
Dr. Tread, do you remember Tom and
I think that was it. Thank you, Bonnie and Tom. Yeah, I do remember them very well. They came into a workshop that I did in Port St. Lucie in November. And, he came up and said, my doctor said that if I didn't do something about my weight, that I did not have to make any more appointments, that I wouldn't be there for the appointments. In other words, he thought he was going to die. And he took it seriously. And that's what motivated him to come to the workshop that I did, him and his wife. And like he said, he heard everything he needed to hear at the workshop. They came in, they signed up in December, and you just heard the testimonial, 6, 9, 8, 10 inches between the two of them. Fantastic results. And I like to say that that's number 1,758 testimonial we've had in the past when we were really cranking with a lot more people. I did testimonials every single week here on the radio. I probably have 400 or 500 in the can. And that was when Mike was here as my host. So we're going to get back to doing more testimonials because testimonials work. I can tell you all day long it works, but you won't believe me if you don't see it for yourself. All right. So let's get back to my talk. Now, to summarize, we got about 15 minutes left. And if you just tuned in, my name is Dr. Tread Rissacker, and I'm a doctor of chiropractic, and I'm the owner of the Slim Body Laser Spa. The Slim Body Laser Spa is located on East Ocean Boulevard, right across from the Fresh Market. We've been open now for going on 12 years in May. We have seen over 6,000 clients. We only have one procedure there. It's not a smorgasbord of spa treatments. There's one process that we use, and we use it because it's predictable. It's measurable, it gets results, and we can bank on it, and you can count on it. And that's the use of an FDA-cleared, non-invasive, low-level laser lipo machine. It's called the Lapex BCS for Body Contouring System. It's made in Korea and was FDA cleared as safe in 2006. So from that FDA clearance, for relaxing tissue, for helping with fat reduction, that machine then was made available in America for purchase. I purchased my machine in 2009. It was $71,000. Our process is about $2,800 for the whole week. That's what we charge for a 9-session plan. And some people are like, oh, that's a lot of money. I don't know. And I was like, are you kidding me? I bought the machine for $71,000 without any proof it worked 11 years ago. So I know what it's like to take a risk. And it worked incredible. It changed my life. It changed thousands and thousands of people's lives when it comes to accumulated body fat. This machine gets rid of accumulated fat, the stuff that you put on from children, from overeating, from not exercising, or just living a good life. A lot of you out there like to drink and party and have fantastic social lives. But you notice that it's easier to, you come to the spa and you can keep that extra fat off. So it's quite amazing. And as a result of the Slim Body, I realized that the number one thing I can do to help you to overcome this weaponization of the COVID and the virus and the shots as a weapon is to help you to be a healthier person. Because gosh darn it, if you're healthy, you don't need shots. You don't need medications. You don't need metformin. If you're healthy, you don't need to even really worry about having health insurance other than crisis care. That's the only health insurance I have is crisis care. I have a $10,000 deductible because I don't go to the doctor for stupid little things because I don't have stupid little things. I keep a good body weight. I do my vitamins and supplements. I drink fresh water. I don't dwell on negativity. I get adjusted all the time. I go to a chiropractor. I think that's really important. And I have purpose in my life of helping people. So I don't have time to be sick. And if you need help, if you want to find out about the Slim Body Laser Spa, give us a call. You know, if you're just new and you've just moved to the area, 30% of our entire Stewart population has just moved here. Who would have ever thought we'd have that many people coming at one time? And I'm happy about it because I like people. Maybe some of you don't like people, but I like people. I like to see all the different things they do. Anyway. So at the laser spa, we're using a laser to get rid of body fat. At the same time, I'm combining a full nutritional program, weight loss, food, consulting, detoxification, whole body vibration, along with it. I can also refer to a chiropractic treatment in Jensen Beach. My brother's there. They have the laser. They have the cold laser. My brother-in-law is also Dr. William Widener, and I can hook you up over there. He has a lot more services than my brother and sister have in Jensen Beach, but it's all natural, holistic-based processes. No drugs here, no shots or injections. All right. I promised that I was going to go over my list to be healthy. This is what I do every single day, and I highly suggest if you need a plan of what to do, if you can't tell me what you do every day for your health and you don't have it memorized, you probably don't have a plan, or you think you do and you're lying about it. I love, they have me, I just got volunteered as a board of directors of a nonprofit, and my job is to evaluate the executive chairs, the person who's actually doing the work, one of the employees, as to their job description, how well they know what they're doing. And I don't know her from Adam. I don't know anything. I didn't hire her. I didn't look at her skills. Her CV was never given to me. And they're like, okay, so you need to find out how effective she is. And I'm like, well, I called her up and I says, I need you to write down for me your job description. She says, well, it's already written down. It's in the book. And I said, well, who wrote the job description? She says, well, it was done by the other executive. I says, and it's like, it's like 40 pages. And I was like, okay, so you have a job description, but you didn't write it. So I can't assume she knows anything about it. So I said, I need you to write down what your job description is, what you think it is. Well, she was offended by that. And well, I have all the job description here and I'm an executive. I was like, yeah, but you're not. I need to assess if you really have the skills. I didn't tell her that, but I need you to write it down. And you know what? She has not given me her job description. So my recommendation to the rest of the board members is she might not know what she's doing if she can't tell me what to do. That should be no brainer. She's being paid $50,000, $60,000 a year for this job. And so my question is, do you have a plan that you do every single day, week in, week out, month after month, year after year, about what you do to be healthy? Now, you might know about your vices, how many cigarettes you smoke or how much alcohol you drink or how much ice cream you're pounding down at night. But do you really know what it takes to be healthy? I have a list. I wrote this list to share with my clients, my patients. So I can send this to you very easy. slimbodylaserspa@gmail.com. Send me a link. I don't even have to send it. I'll just send you the PDF back so you can have it for yourself. Because I promise you on this, if you can follow this list, your chances of dying from this weaponization that we're all experiencing becomes less, much less. I mean, huge less. More than taking the vaccination is going to protect you. These to-do list is going to protect you more than a vaccine, more than antibiotics, more than, wearing masks everywhere you go. Those are outside approaches to health. That's an outside philosophy that you need something from outside the body to be healthy. My belief is an inside approach, that you need to do things internally to boost your strength, your immune system through very simple techniques. So basically, now you're working together with the power that made you, power that gave you life, which gave you an immune system, gave you a digestive tract, actually gave you an ability to make proper choices based on how you feel. If you allow yourself to feel, you'll know if something's bad for you. My dad used to say, If you have a craving to eat eggs, eat eggs. He says, maybe your body needs the protein, the albumin, and that's why you're craving it. But if you're all high on some drug you took or high on sugar because you just had to power down a big coffee, you're not going to feel that urge because you're deadened by it. Your faculty has been deadened by drugs and sugar and things which make you high. And food does make us high. All right, here's my list. Every day, drink at least 1 gallon of purified water every day. That's foundational, people. If you're not drinking water, it's the number one deficiency I see at the Slim Body is people aren't drinking water. They don't like the taste of water. They don't drink enough water. They get it from coffee. They get it from flavored drinks. I promise you, water is a solvent. It's meant to clean your body, and you cannot clean your body if it's not pure water. Try to clean your dishes with coffee. Try to clean your sink and your countertops with Gatorade and tell me how well that works. Water is a gift. Drink lots of it. Number 2, you must exercise or move your body every day. Every day in every way. Stand up, move every joint every day in every way. I'm not talking about hitting the gym here. I'm talking about just moving. Most of you aren't moving. When's the last time you took your arms, put them up high, and then pulled them back, and moved your ankles and your toes and your feet? You got to move your body every day. It's an immutable law. It cannot be ignored. If you ignore the law of movement, nature will slowly or quickly eliminate you. And you move and you do movement because that's what distributes the food to the body is movement. You eat the best food, and if you don't move, you can't distribute the fluids and you can't get rid of toxins. So movement helps nutrition and it gets rid of poisons, and you got to do it or you'll die. Number 3, eat live food. Right. It's true. Live food is vegetables as close to natural as you can get them. If you can stand it raw, go for it. Most of us, our digestive tracts are so degenerated that we can't even really take raw food without upsetting us. But you want live food. Live food has a principle of life. Fresh veggies, low sugar fruit. At least 75% of your daily dietary intake should be plant-based. 75%. Eat high-quality protein. No processed meats. Some cold cuts are okay, chickens, turkeys, but, you got to stay away from the ones that are full of fat, the sausages, the blood sauce. I mean, there's just some horrible, horrible concoctions at the deli counter. But you want to eat lean protein, and fish and chicken is fine, of course. And there's also proteins in vegetables too, but you don't get the same protein amino acids that you do from eating natural meat. So we want to eat high quality protein. Number 5, take your supplements. God gave you an immune system and a defense system to protect you, but it needs water, it needs exercise, it needs good nutrients, minerals, and enzymes, and it needs rest and recuperation to function. And one of the problems we're coming into is our food is being grown commercially in such a mass way that there's no longer any trace elements or nutrients as much within the food we're eating. So we have to supplement. You have to take supplementation to get those trace minerals and those elements. Those are enzymes, and you need them for bodily things to happen. So you got to have these, you got to take supplements. So Western culture diet is terrible. Our fruits and vegetables are mostly devoid of trace elements and necessary enzymes required to support life. We must take supplements in the form of vitamins and minerals to be healthy. So here's my supplemental list. I take vitamin C, 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C twice a day. I take omega-3 fatty acids, 2,000 micrograms, 2 times per day. And it takes 2 to 3 months to see results from omega-3 fatty acids. But the results are incredible. Less pain, sleeping better. It's so many things that omega-3 helps. And you don't get it unless you eat massive amounts of fish. So you got to supplement that. You need at least You need vitamin D every day. Everybody should take between 2,000 and 5,000 IUs per day. It's hugely important if you're not getting enough sunshine. Vitamin D carries energy from the cell into the cell. That's what vitamin D does. The next one is zinc sulfate. You want zinc. It's antiviral, it's anti-infection. You want to take at least 50 milligrams to 220 milligrams per day. You want super B complex. Super B vitamins are the ones that make your urine yellow. So if don't have yellow urine, you're probably not taking enough B complex. And that's good for all kinds of things. You want to take a multi-mineral supplement too, because we're not getting enough minerals from the vitamins. I suggest, and I like liquid vitamins over pills and things like that, okay? So you want organic liquid vitamins. So that's my list of things to do every day. I do pray every day. I do meditate every day. I do try to do a gratitude list every day. When I get up, when I go to sleep, things I'm grateful for. It makes me feel better. And that's about it. You know, we're running out of time. I want to thank you so much. Listen, have a great Thanksgiving. If you overeat a little bit, that's okay. Just drink a lot of water the next day. Get out, get some exercise, and just don't repeat it. Okay? Tell your family that you love them and you're so happy to see them, because we just don't know if we're going to be around next time. You know, life is not a given. It can end fast. And, you know, Thanksgiving is a wonderful opportunity to be and to see people that you love and to be there. And let me know how your Thanksgiving went, okay? We'll see you next week. God bless. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.